this again is such a great example of just what happens in SketchUp, because it doesn't allow you to have items designed because it seems like they're okay. SketchUp requires you to make the items so they really are okay. And the dimensionality of parts on the front and back end of structures that you're working with alters capabilities that your mind doesn't necessarily think of. We could attempt to make our smallest dimension a little bit less. You can see the benefit of creating all of your structures as individual components hooked together. So we will move this up in the air by 3 inches. And we'll come down and see if we can work on this component. And we'll take 5/16 off of it. And we'll go and move it over by 5/16. And then we'll move it down by the 3 inches that we moved it up. And that puts it back on top and gives you at least for demonstration purposes, a perfectly adequate piston, a perfectly adequate hydraulic cylinder for us to demonstrate issues associated with sensing and measurement. And we will save this. And we have to put this piston, that hydraulic cylinder, into place. And that is about in the middle, which is adequate for what we're doing. Now we can see that this structure is at its minimum rotation and so a minimum length of the hydraulic cylinder. So now we want to bring the hydraulic cylinder down and so now we want to rotate the hydraulic cylinder down around its axis to about where we felt the maximum degree of flexion of this hip could be. And so now we're ready to look at this femur and leg. Moving this leg in this direction is considered to be extension of the hip. And we're leaving this here just for reference purposes. We'll take a look at this structure. And we want to rotate this structure about its axis of rotation. the complexities of the issues associated with attempting to keep all these parts where they work in a way that's actually physically possible can make the design issues complex. Since what we want to talk about is measurement and not the design of a robot that can do the type of range of motion of a human being, we've just spent some time and designed this pelvis to allow this piston to show us the motions that we want to see. In the actual piston robot, all of these features have been optimized to give the piston robot the same range of motion of its various joints that human beings have. But that level of range of motion in this little robot isn't necessary in order for us to discuss measurement issues, and so we are not going to go through the iterations required to bring it to that. We will bring to your attention there's a possibility our computer may have a little blue alien living inside the computer. We asked him if he would help us to show you the name of the next video in our series about PistonRobot, and he said, sure.